F1 sprint races. Do we really need them? Sprint races in Formula 1 are here to stay. 3 are done for 2022, while 6 more are set for the following year. With more points available, each can make a big difference in the title battle. Before changing the structure for 2022, F1 introduced its sprint race format at 3 races in 2021. This year, the driver who finished first qualifying will again receive the pole position. Welcome back to F1 Unlimited. In today's video, let's look at the F1 sprint races and understand if we really need them. Before moving on, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and turn the post notification on. The conventional Formula 1 weekend sequence of practice, qualifying, race now includes sprint races. The vehicles line up in the order that they qualified on a Sunday and they are raced on a Saturday. The outcome determines the grid for the Grand Prix. Although Formula 1 has a different formula than Formula 2 and 3, both series aim to upend the standings and give fans more racing for their money. The competition is shorter than usual. The top 8 finishers receive championship points and the outcome determines the starting order for the Sunday's long race. The sprint races cover 100 kilometers, therefore the number of laps changes depending on the track Formula 1 uses on a sprint race weekend. The sprint race at the Brazilian Grand Prix will consist of 24 laps. On the Friday of the racing weekend, qualifying is held one day earlier than usual, with the results determining the startup line for the sprint race on Saturday. The starting order for Sunday's race, which will still give total points and follow the customary distance and lap count, will be determined by the finishing order of the sprint race itself. In contrast to 2021, the quickest qualifier is recorded in the record books as having the pole position, even if they do not start at the front of the Grand Prix. The sprint race winner, nonetheless, begins on the pole. The top 3 finishers will receive points, starting with 3 for the winner and decreasing to 1 for the third. There won't be a podium ceremony because the top 3 finishers in Sunday's Grand Prix will still receive that honour. Nevertheless, the top 3 will receive a special post-sprint celebration. The grid for Sunday's marquee event, the Grand Prix, where the standard format will not change, will be determined by the race's finishing order. Sprint qualifying will have a more subdued grid process, with journalists and visitors being allowed on the grid as is the case during non-COVID times for the Grand Prix. Still, special events like the national anthem will only occur during Sunday's primary race. Verstappen, a 2-time world champion, said he prefers the usual weekend schedule and that drivers tended to be more careful in the sprint races on Saturdays because there was a chance that they may wreck their cars or fall to the back of the pack. Verstappen explained that each sprint race's goal is to avoid damage and maintain a top 3 finish. Since you enter the primary race knowing that there are significantly more points available, you might take a bit more risk there. It isn't a race at the end of the day. You make a new, thrilling start, but only those out of the position advance because nobody else puts a tyre on the last of the entire race, so little happens. Verstappen said that rather than adding a second sprint to the weekend schedule, Formula 1 should simply stick to the primary race. Verstappen said, "I don't get what the issue is with that. We've had so many thrilling races, so you don't need to add 1/3 of a race distance." The expansion of the sprint race format in 2023, which the FIA have approved at the most recent World Motorsport Council meeting, has the agreement of F1 teams. This year, sprints at Imola and the Red Bull Ring provided various levels of the on-track action before the Grand Prix on Sunday. The 2021 sprint race at Interlagos saw Lewis Hamilton push from the back of the grid to finish 4th before winning the race on Sunday. The Mercedes driver thought that the F1 needed to be extremely selective about which venues it chose to hold sprint races, favouring those with easier overtaking. Still, he had to appreciate the format since it was still new. Hamilton remarked, "We've got the same Thursday to Sunday for who knows how long. This year's weekend was meant to be 3 days, but they changed it back to 4 days, which I wasn't happy about. Races are not always the best. It does open up a few more alternatives, but not every time there is overtaking. So perhaps we can take something away from the sprint races where there wasn't any overtaking. Putting them where there are lots of opportunities, like Brazil or somewhere like Baku, will be the most incredible places for overtaking. I'm not opposed to it as long as they are careful about where they place it." The sprint format's strong justification is that it provides more intense on-track competition. In the end, the sprint events function fairly well. They changed the weekend schedule, forcing teams to improvise in terms of setup due to the limited preparation time. The grid can occasionally become more disorganized due to the sprint race, but the sprint race is just long enough to keep viewers interested but not long enough to provide the extra intricacy of the Grand Prix, which presents a slightly different challenge for the drivers. There are many ways to improve the format. Still, this race hasn't altered the general perception of viewers from the previous year, which was that the format is neither excellent nor terrible but mildly favourable in the middle of those two extremes. In contrast to the standard model with 3 practice sessions, it increases competition. The one error F1 keeps making is exaggerating them so much that the sprints cannot stand up to them. But that is all for today. Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to us here at F1 Unlimited. We'll see you in the next video.